The scripture lessons today is Isaiah chapter 42, verses 1 through 9, and then also Matthew chapter 3, verses 13 through 17. Here is my servant, whom I uphold, my chosen, in whom my soul delights. I have put my spirit upon him. He will bring forth justice to the nations. He will not cry out or lift up his voice, or make it heard in the street. A bruised reed he will not break, and a dimly burning wick he will not quench. He will faithfully bring forth justice. He will not grow faint or be crushed until he has established justice in the earth, and the coastlines wait for his teaching. Thus says God the Lord, who created the heavens and stretched them out, who spread out the earth and what comes from it, who gives breath to the people upon it, and spirit to those who walk in it. I am the Lord. I have called you in righteousness. I have taken you by the hand and kept you. I have given you as a covenant to the people, a light to the nations, to open the eyes that are blind, to bring out the prisoners from the dungeon, from the prison, those who sit in darkness. I am the Lord, that is my name. My glory I give to no other, nor my praise to idols. See, the former things have come to pass, and new things I now declare. Before they spring forth, I tell you of them. And the second one is Matthew chapter 3, 13 through 17, the baptism of Jesus. Then Jesus came from the Galilee to John at the Jordan to be baptized by him. John would have prevented him, saying, I need to be baptized by you, and do you come to me? But Jesus answered him, let it be so now, for it is proper for us in this way to fulfill all righteousness. Then he consented. And when Jesus had been baptized, just as he came up from the water, suddenly the heavens were opened to him, and he saw God's Spirit descending like a dove and alighting on him. And a voice from the heavens said, this is my Son, the beloved, with whom I am well pleased. This ends the readings.
In our tradition, we recognize two sacraments, baptism and communion. And today we celebrate the baptism of Jesus. Jesus who chose to be baptized, even though John didn't think he was worthy to baptize him. And so often, baptism becomes a lot like confirmation, a thing to get done, just in case. But that is so far from our theology that we don't really understand, I don't think, the meaning of baptism. A colleague once told me a story about a former conference minister visiting, and there was a baptism, and all throughout the baptism, the baby was screaming its head off. I know we've never really experienced that firsthand. I mean, there was a time the baby puked on me, but that was that. And then the conference minister said, about the baby screaming, he should be, because it's baptism. And baptism has meaning. And we all should be screaming our heads off about what the responsibility of baptism is. And we're paired today with the prophet Isaiah, who's talking about justice. Justice about the least of these. Even that broken branch will not be thrown away. The light, the candle that's waning will not be blown out. That which is not having meaning for us has meaning for God. It will not be destroyed. And in baptism, we are called to be the ones that minister to the very least of these. The waters of baptism, I didn't put water in here today, I should have, I suppose. But the waters of baptism cleanse us. Not to make us pure, not to make us holy, not to make us set apart in the way that we often think we're set apart. But the waters of baptism nourish us that we could go out and do the ministry to which we are called. Yes, we are set apart. Not because we're better than everybody else, because we recognize that we're not. We recognize all that is broken in our world, and we are called to make it better. Not necessarily right, but better. It's been a week, hasn't it? I mean, I know the late night guys really loved this week because they had lots of material to use. There's so much that we can say about what's going on in our world. There's so much we can say about what's going on in our country. But what do those words mean if we're not willing to go into action and make something better? The words of baptism are empty if it's just something to get through. Let's get her done. Actually, I had somebody call me one day and said, I just want to get her done. Ha! That's beautiful. Let me put that into those vows. They're just going to get her done. No, it's a sacrament. In the waters of baptism, God is present. And in the waters of baptism, just like in Jesus' baptism, God is calling us by name. This is mine. For Jesus, this is my son. For some of us, this is my daughter. This is mine, with whom I am well pleased. If that is said in our baptism, then how do we live our lives to make sure that God is still well pleased with what? With who is God's? How different is our life when we walk the streets of our cities thinking, I'm God's. I am God's. With whom God is well pleased. I hope that changes us. It should change us. And so when we see those who aren't quite up to snuff for us, we don't snuff them out. We bring them up. We lift up the most weary, the most tattered, the most broken. Because we've been baptized and we've been claimed. And now it is up to us to help others feel that claim and know that claim and be valued and know that even in their brokenness with them, God is well pleased. Well pleased. These are the words we should carry on our heart. These are the words that should break our broken hearts, should break open our broken hearts, and the stone that holds them cold. These are the words that should claim us so that we can embrace and help others be claimed as well. Friends, you are God's, with whom God is well pleased.